Mm. Well, maybe if you leave and
I can hear now.
okay, you can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I got some kind of echo going on here. Let me take a quick look here. Oh. Well, welcome. Appreciate you coming on. And I do still have a little echo going on here. Let me just check. I think I might be in a couple places, and that's always not a good thing. So here we go. I love live radio, and I feel like I might be in a couple different places here. So I want to just welcome you. And again, I got this major echo coming from somewhere. Oh, this, huh. Let me see here. Hear me all right? I
Yes.
have an echo still. Well, it's great to see you, and I'll try and can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please? And then what I'll do is I'll try and fix this echo from my side.
Sure. Mitaku be chante washtea na be chius apie. Leya Hale imaki apie da makota ye. Oyate mi tawa kin hena. Sisseton ga. Wahpeton ga shina hade ha awi chaki apie. Hello everyone. Hello my relatives. My name is Leya Hale, and I come from the Dakota and Diné people. On my maternal side of my family, I come from the Sisseton, Wahpeton, Dakota people, and on my paternal side, I come from the Diné Nation. And I'm really happy to be here and to share with you all a little bit about my filmmaking, some of my projects, and some recent recognition that I received. And I'm really happy that Robert Pilot invited me on to his show.
Yeah, it was fun. I kind of ambushed you at the. I was saying earlier when we first got on, I saw you at the American Indian Center in Minneapolis, and always looking for new stories. I saw you were talking to a few people that are really interesting in the community. I want to talk about a couple things like your Emmy Award winning documentaries. That's just I just want to say that is just so cool and. I hope you know that the community's like really proud of you and uplifting our stories in mainstream media, really, and working with TPT. It's great to have somebody there telling our stories. That's us.
Yeah, it's really an honor. I consider myself like a transplant, urban native transplant. I grew up in the Los Angeles American Indian community, so moving out here almost 15 years ago, I just really am blessed to be a part of this community, and it's always an honor to have the opportunity, being a documentary producer at Twin Cities PBS, to just have opportunities to highlight and showcase some of the good community work that goes on in our Native community here in the Twin Cities area.
Yeah, one of the your works was with one of my old friends, Henry Boucher, and it was an amazing piece that you did. And I know you have another one that just came out. It's just exciting that we are seeing ourselves on a platform like this, and it's exciting, and I like the filmmakers across the Twin Cities, but also you give us such just great energy and great stories, and I just want let people know how they can see some of your past work.
Yeah. So, I've been lucky enough to really contribute to Twin Cities PBS, and I guess you can say the regional area, in regards to doing my best to represent our indigenous community and have the opportunity to tell stories from our community as well. So I always like to just, thank Twin Cities PBS for making sure that there's always room for Indigenous storytelling and supporting me as much as they can in regards to just the certain stories that I select to pick or I pick to tell and produce. And another entity that has really championed my work has been Vision Maker Media. They are an organization out of Lincoln, Nebraska, and they've been really awesome in regards to just supporting my work over the years. I have been funded. They're actually an organization, a public media organization that funds Native storytelling. So they used to function as like a production grant that you could apply to and submit proposals for documentary stories that focus on indigenous culture, just issues that we're facing today. And I was just really fortunate that they really found the stories and the proposals that I submitted over the years, and really helped, just back the work. And I was just really disappointed though in regards to our federal government, the administration for the defunding of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, because that's where Vision Maker Media received a lot of their support. So with the elimination of that funding, it really impacts people like me who were really relying upon those funds to help me fund the stories that I was telling. But yeah, they've been really awesome the past, I would say, decade. They have
Wow.
funded 4 of my projects.
Let's talk more about this. We got to take a quick break. We are here with Leya Hale, Emmy Award winning documentary producer, telling our Native stories. We'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. Ho!
There's a powerful story being shared at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. Unchi Said So, a solo exhibition by Danielle Seawalker, brings forward Native stories shaped by collective identity, generational knowledge, and teachings passed down through community. Through bold color and portraiture, this work honors the significance of grandmothers in Native culture while reflecting the idea that sovereignty begins at home. On view now through June 6th. Plan your visit today at allmyrelationsarts.org.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and we are with our friend Leya Hale, Emmy Award-winning documentary producer and all-around just really nice person. I want to let you finish your thought. We had to go to a break, and this is I think we want to say real news on how this administration's affecting our artists and our people. So I want you to finish on your thought. I'm sorry that I broke into it. We had to pay. We had to pay the sponsors here. So welcome back.
On the I believe it took place about a year ago when our administration had defunded the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. And that's where Vision Maker Media, who is one of my biggest supporters and funders of my project, was really impacted significantly in regards to the funding that they utilized to support Indigenous artists, filmmakers like myself. So yeah, it was really a big bummer, and I'm really thankful that they're still going. I know they're definitely looking to support artists in different ways, such as through distribution channels and getting the films that once they're done and completed, getting them onto a national PBS platform. So that's what they're currently helping me with right now with my latest documentary, Medicine Ball. So I'm glad that they're still functioning, as a unit, but they're not functioning as I guess, a financial resource like they have before.
Yeah, and when is this nightmare going to end? Hopefully soon. But one of the things too, I'd love if you talk about your latest documentary, and I've had a chance to see it, and I am just so impressed. Again, telling our stories in a good way, and maybe let people know how they can see it too.
Sure. So, Medicine Ball is my latest documentary. It's an hour-long film, and it follows two Native athletes that attend the University of Minnesota Morris, which now sits on the former grounds of a boarding school. I believe it was called the Industrial School for Indians. And this boarding school functioned in the late 1800s. That first was opened up as a Catholic run school, but definitely transitioned to a government run institution in the early 1900s. And I believe it ended probably within that first decade. So basically, what the film explores is the connection between Native basketball and how Native basketball was born out of boarding schools. And I just thought that topic was really fascinating. There's a book about it. That the author of the book is Wade Davies, and he's a indigenous professor out of, I believe it's Montana State University, and he wrote a book a few years ago that's called Native Hoops, and um, it talks about the history of Native basketball in boarding schools from, I believe it's the 1930s all the way to like the 1970s. And yeah, I just thought it was really fascinating, a different perspective, one that we normally don't hear in regards to boarding school history. So to me, as a Native filmmaker, a storyteller, I think it's always important, especially with that responsibility of representing our voices on a national platform. I always try to find stories that will help us as a community look at our own history differently in regards to how we carry that weight. Some people, when they hear about boarding school history, or even many non-native filmmakers and storytellers, when they tell stories about boarding school history, it really focuses on that really dark, negative side of things. And like with anything in our life as Native people, we are really resilient people, and we always find ways to overcome these difficult times in our lives. And I just felt like, focusing on basketball as that symbol of hope, as that symbol of resiliency, of finding community within these schools, being so far away from your homeland, and finding that camaraderie with other players, And even having that luxury of speaking and continuing to speak your language by being a student athlete, I just thought those were things that you don't normally hear about. And I think we need to hear all of it, and we need to embrace all of it, not just the negative side of it. So I just thought that if I'm going to do a story that involves boarding school history, I'm going to tell it a little bit differently. Tell it in a way that was passed on to me from my own grandparents. My grandparents went to boarding school. They went to Sherman Indian Institute in Riverside, California. And I'm pretty sure they suffered a lot of the same, hard realities that many of our relatives did. But growing up as a young person, they always shared the good times with us in regards to
Mhm.
a lot of those cultural tribal exchanges that took place during that time. So, I just wanted to always make it a point that when I have the opportunity to share our history, share our culture, I always want to do it in a good, positive light that our young people can see that we just all didn't always come from historical trauma, that we come from resiliency, and that it's important to remember those stories and to carve space for those stories as well. So I think it's only right, for Native storytellers to do that themselves.
Wow, that's amazing. I really appreciate that. What I like too is that we're still here, and one of the things is we're not ancient history, and you're really amplifying our history now as in the making. I'm wondering, how do you come up with the names? I've always meant to ask you this. How do you come up with the name of your project? Because I love the Electric Indian, with Henry Boucher, and so how do you come up with the titles of your documentaries?
Um, in different ways. Sometimes they might come organically, naturally through the interview process. Maybe there's just a really cool line that one of my subjects says, and it just really pops out, and I'll remember it and I'll jot it down. And I might even tell them to repeat it a couple of times, like after, towards the end of an interview, if I think, hey, that could be a potential title. But I guess but it comes to me differently for medicine ball in particular. I really liked the connection with one of the native professors, Gabe DeRogier, that teaches at the University of Minnesota Morris. And when I asked him if we could film interaction between him and one of the young native college athletes, the one of the subjects of the film, I asked if we could record or film an interaction and a discussion that they were having. He really hit home when he started talking about the significance of how we incorporate traditional medicines into contemporary times, and he used the example of how a lot of native athletes, it's common for them to put sage or cedar in their basketball shoes as a form of protection, a spiritual protection. And he gives an example of how to do that, and he even rolls up the ball and he calls it the medicine ball. And I just thought that was very fitting because when you watch the film, I think people automatically identify the basketball itself as being the medicine ball, which it can be, but also
Mhm.
I like the underlying deeper meaning behind it, that there's this medicine that's involved in regards to the activities we choose to do, such as sports, in regards to uplifting our spirits, and medicine's involved in that. So I just wanted to make that correlation in the title from the actual sport to the medicine ball that he's rolling up in that particular scene.
Wow, that's great. Hey, everybody, we're here with Leya Hale, Emmy Award-winning documentary producer. I guess I'm reading into my notes here that the documentary Medicine Ball will be distributed nationally in the fall of 2026. So it'll be coming up. But also, I want to really congratulate you. And we only got a minute left. Just talk about the award that you just got at the Minnesota Filmmaker Award, if you don't mind. And I know you're a very humble person, but I just want our listening audience before you leave know a little bit more about you.
Sure. I believe it was 2 weeks ago, the Zeitgeist Minnesota Film Festival, which takes place in Duluth every year, um, has a film. I think it's a week-long film festival, and every year they have awards. And one of the bigger awards is called the Minnesota Filmmaker Award. And it was such an honor to receive that this year. The award is basically based on your craftsmanship, your ability to tell a story in, a unique way that stands out from the rest. So I was told that I received that award, so I drove up there with my mom and my sister and my kids, and we had a good time, and they presented me with a really cool, unique award. So I was really honored by that.
Well, I'm really honored to have you on the show again, and thank you so much, Big Pinagigi. And again, the work you're doing is so important. Big Pinagigi, thank you so much.
Thank you, Pidami Ayapi.
Oh, up next, Arvina Martin, our beautiful political contribution person. Oh, wow. We'll be right back. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Visit during free Thursday nights. Every week from 5 to 9 p.m., there's something new to explore. Enjoy date-friendly events like artist talks, performances, and exhibition openings, or explore art-making open library hours and exhibition tours. Settle into your weekend among community. Free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
Hello, Minnesota. This is Tom Hartman, and you can catch me every weekday from 11 to 2 right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's smart radio for smart people.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
There's a powerful story being shared at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. She Said So. A solo exhibition by Danielle Seawalker brings forward Native stories shaped by collective identity, generational knowledge, and teachings passed down through community. Through bold color and portraiture, this work honors the significance of grandmothers in Native culture while reflecting the idea that sovereignty begins at home. On view now through June 6th. Plan your visit today at allmyrelationsarts.org.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low around 48, Wednesday sunny with a high near 72, and Thursday sunny with a high around 77. It's time to discover macarons like you've never tasted before in Nicolette's Macarons in Plymouth. Pick up a box of elegant French macarons conveniently located right off Highway 169. Perfect for gifts, corporate events, or even just yourself. Stop in or order online at nicolettesmacarons.com.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are with our friend Arvina Martin, our political consultant and all-around great person. Thank you so much, Arvina, for coming on. And I just want to say our last conversation when you were on last Wednesday really, I guess, resonated with me, and I really appreciate your strength in bringing that up. And I wonder if you just want to touch on that again before we get going on other things. And I just really appreciate you speaking your truth. And I just wanted you to bring it up again so the people that didn't hear you Wednesday kind of get the vibe of what we were talking about. And again, really appreciate you being on.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. We talked a lot about this kind of growing epidemic with the mistreatment of women in the United States, and the growth of misogyny, and how at least like public displays of misogyny, whether it is people on social media making videos talking about negging women, or worse, talking about high value or low value women, and how these lead to women really not being seen as, and I'm kind of saying it in a different way this time, but it makes it so women are not necessarily seen as fellow human beings, and that makes it easier for men and even other women to speak badly and treat badly, women or non-binary folks that are just trying to get through life. This leads to not just things like threats online, but actual violence, whether it is sexual assault, whether it is, an abusive relationship, and how we need to teach our boys and our young men better, and we need to teach them about having feelings, and letting them know that it's okay and it's healthy even to experience and express feelings other than just anger. Because too many of our boys are socialized, and told if they're upset and they're crying, oh, buck up, be a man, and insinuating that men don't cry, which is not true. Making sure that boys and young men feel empowered to express their feelings when they're negative, and if they're sad, if they're hurt, things that they don't, these days it's hard for those boys to express without being teased or worse. And I don't mean the kind of teasing that like we like to do, between folks in our communities, like mean teasing, bullying. We need to make it so that our boys can deal with their emotions in a healthy way and not take it out on the women in their lives. I just ran across, I posted it on Facebook, but saw at the end of last week, a video of the young woman from, I believe it was Tennessee, who she's a high school student, and she went to go testify or present something at her local school board meeting. And the grown man elected school board member seating next to her commented on her appearance and told her she was hot. And wow. This is a minor that he said this to, and has experienced maybe a slap on the wrist, you know, and has not been held accountable by that body, by the school board, and has really failed that young woman. Well, she came back to that school board's another meeting recently, and she responded to everything. And I just want to say that this young woman showed such bravery and strength and fortitude by going in front of an elected body that is there in theory to, you know, support education and support her pursuits as a student and as a learner. And she, you know, said that he wasn't punished. You know, this is a failure not only of that member, but the board president and other board members who did not push for anything harsher than just a slap on the wrist. And she actually, to their faces, called them all cowards. And I, you know, if I had been in that room, I would have wanted to stand up and applaud her. That takes, you know, remarkable courage to do, to speak to not just grown-ups, but people that potentially, you know, that are supposedly have power over her, you know, and her education. She said that she learned something, and this broke my heart, that what she learned from this whole experience is that she can't count on the grown-ups, that she has to defend herself, and she has to be the one to take care of herself. And that's tragic, because that's not how we should be operating. And I am just so gutted that she has had to go through this, and that but also proud that she went back and told them what she really thought, and told them what a lot of us also think. And it's my hope that when elections come by again, that, you know, every single one of those school board members that failed this young woman are thrown out of office, because they should not be anywhere near education.
Absolutely. I appreciate that story. One of the things that I got from our conversation too, and I want to just say this, and you don't need to respond, but you can respond, is that I really believe that it's time for men to step up. And I think that was one of the things that we talked about last week. When you see things like this, step up. It doesn't, you know, and that was just a great reminder last week. And I just wanted to say that, Arvina. Yeah.
And I really think that's what we need to be doing right now. That means, men, if you want to do something, there are definitely things that you can do. And they're not even big effort things. They may be hard, because it might entail calling out people that you care about for bad behavior. And that can be really hard, especially if the person you're calling out is an elder, is some kind of leader. But we cannot have these kinds of locker room conversations happening, you know, when I mean, these guys know not to say things like that in front of women. So they know that there's something wrong, but don't be an accomplice. Don't be one of the people that lets them get away with that. If you are sitting with your buddies and, you know, watching the game, and somebody calls another player a pussy for something, call that out.
Yeah.
You know, it's say, why would you say that? If somebody makes a misogynistic joke, ask them why it was funny, and make them actually explain the joke, because usually when that happens, they know and they realize that, you can't, that there's something wrong with what they've said, and having to explain it really shames out a lot of people that you don't think can be shamed. And they need to hear, men need to hear it from other men.
Yeah.
Women have been talking about this for hundreds of years, to whatever extent. And it's easier to take a message seriously when it's coming from someone within your whatever identity, you have, somebody that's closer to your identity in terms of their own identity. People take those kinds of conversations much more seriously than they do.
When did being politically correct become a bad word or a bad statement? That's what I can't understand, because I really believe, and I think about my grandkids, your daughter, younger people that have never seen what quote unquote normalcy in the political vein, especially from the top, from the orange one, really how to be civil to each other. And it just blows my mind. And I think that's part of the deep story, but I think we've also been dealing with this underlining problem forever too.
Yeah. And we have, especially for our younger relatives, having relationships, even platonic relationships across gender is getting a lot harder. There are boys that are like, I can't be friends with a girl, or because they see manosphere, blogs or podcasts. I don't know if people do blogs anymore, but like podcasts or social media content that is like, straight men and straight women cannot be friends. It's always somebody wants more. And like, that's not true. People are perfectly capable. I have many straight male friends, and we need friends of all different kinds. We need to take care of each other in every single way. And this is just part of it.
Hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, our political consultant and Ho-Chunk's sister, and it's always great to talk to her. We're going to be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. Ho-wah.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Aho, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Visit during free Thursday nights. Every week from 5 to 9 p.m., there's something new to explore. Enjoy date-friendly events like artist talks, performances, and exhibition openings, or explore art-making open library hours and exhibition tours. Settle into your weekend among community. Free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Hi, it's Dr. Evan Adams, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. Hey, Victor, you better be listening.
In this portion of the show, we'd like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations throughout Turtle Island. Say no to the hunts.
Oh! Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio. We're with our friend Arvina Martin, our political consultant, and I really enjoy our conversation. Arvina, I'm just going to switch the subject a little bit here. There's two things I want to ask you. I want to ask you about, one, your services, but also, two, I don't know if you heard that Rodney Rave got out of the race, and your thoughts. And it's hard to get through when you're brand new, and that's kind of the stuff that you do in your training and things like that. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I read Rodney's statement, and I thought it was very thoughtful. I mean, it was very clear that he had put a lot of consideration into deciding whether he was going to continue on in this race. And this race is an important one. The incumbent, Derek Van Orden, is not a good guy. He yells at kids at libraries and yells at pages in Congress. So he, and in addition to supporting and voting for terrible legislation, and being, MAGA and very much a Trump backer. But there are, the primary on the Democratic side for this seat was pretty crowded. And Rodney thought that his being in the race could lead to him being splitting votes amongst some of the other candidates, and didn't want to be a part of that. So I know that he has dropped out and endorsed Emily Berge, who is on the city council in Eau Claire, and will be backing her going forward. And I have to say that running for office is not easy. When you're doing it right, you're not home much. And when you're at home, you're on the phone asking for money, or, trying to talk to potential voters. And the bigger the race, or the larger the district that you're running in, you have to travel a lot more, and it's hard. I know that when I ran for Secretary of State, I was going across, the state all the time. And despite the fact that I was meeting with people every day, I was having, the exact same conversations, which were the conversations that I needed to be having with voters, which is what you need to be doing. And I realized that I, was, I was away from home. I was away from my family. I was away from my cats, who I love too. And realized that despite being around people all the time, that I was really lonely. And it was a weird feeling. And it's a feeling that people don't necessarily get unless they've been there. And there's not a lot of people that have done this kind of thing. And so the life of a candidate is very trying. Not trying. It's what's the word I'm trying to, it's difficult, and it's you need a lot of stamina, and it can be hard on your mental health. And he made a tough decision, but I do believe that he put a lot, like I said, he put a lot of thought into this and made the best decision, not only for himself as a human being, but also thinking about what he wanted his candidacy to accomplish. And he thinks that he can better help accomplish those goals by dropping out of the race and supporting Emily Berge than he could by running his own campaign. And I think that takes a tremendous amount of strength to realize that things are not necessarily going the way you want to, and your candidacy could ultimately make things worse than you want it to be. And so I hate to see his candidacy end. It was so exciting to have a second Ho-Chunk running for Congress, but at the same time, I very, very much respect that he put the needs of the voters of Wisconsin's 3rd congressional district over his own personal aspirations. And I think that says a lot about his character. And I think that it also shows that he is the kind of person that we do want to have elected into office to be making policy for all of us. And I hope that this is just the beginning for him. And dropping out of a congressional race, I mean, he ran a race for 7 months. And I'm sure he's learned quite a bit about how to run for office and the things that he would need to do. And, he got his name out there too. So I think that the door is not closed for him to choose to run, whether it's for Congress or whether it's for a different seat. I do think that he has not closed the door on a future candidacy. And I really, really hope that he does run for something again, because he just showed that he has the kind of character that we need to have in elected office, that we are desperately lacking in our current policymakers. Someone who is willing to put the needs of the voters and the potential constituents ahead of his own political aspirations, and above his own personal desires and wants. And I think that someone who can make a decision like that has the right kind of mindset for being. Ironically, making that decision to drop out shows that he is the person who should be considered.
Well, as you know, I worked with Rodney for a short time, a year or so, as a Ho-Chunk legislator. We were both legislators, and I agree in everything that you said there about him and his character. It was really a pleasure to see it, and I understood why he got the calling, because he'd been to D.C. a bunch of times to see what was going on, and so that tells you something too. Arvina, we only got like 2 minutes here. I'd really like to hear about how you can help our community out there, Wisconsin, Minnesota, not so much for the Vikings, but or the Wolves, but our political friends, and also people that need support with basic Native American 101.
Yeah, I provide a lot of trainings that your organization, your candidate, your political group can have me come and give, whether in person or or virtually, and you can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Arvina Martin, and I have trainings like Tribes 101 that helps you learn about what tribal sovereignty is and how to work with tribal governments in an appropriate and respectful way, as well as how to organize and really be a part and get Native people involved in grassroots organizing efforts, so that they're being organized in ways that are appropriate for each community. And I also have trainings that can help, future candidates, public speakers, anything like that. So hit me up on LinkedIn if you would like to talk more.
Excellent. Thank you, Big Peeny Gigi Arvina. Hey, I want to let everyone know that's in the Twin Cities. Chase Iron will be on right after me, and he is Chase Iron Eyes American Patriot Talk Radio, and stay tuned for that. It's a great show. Again, Big Peeny Gigi Arvina. We're still here. We are the 7th generation. We'll be back tomorrow. Oh.
Heart health is more than just the physical.